Judge, while we're waiting, I don't think you've met before. I'd like to introduce the Chief Defender for the 4-county service area out of Atascosa, Minu Walters. She's joining us. I hope you don't mind, just as in part educational, just to see the workings of Oversight Committee. We'll probably be trying to organize one up there pretty soon.
Yes, sir. No problem at all. Welcome, Ms. Walters. It's nice to meet you. My name is George Morrill. I'm the B County Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
And we also have Judge Patrick Flanagan. He's the district judge for the 156th Judicial District down here. And we also have Judge Robert Blaschke, who's the Refugio County Judge.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And then we have April Cantu. April is the B County Auditor. And Ms. Cooper.
Hi.
Hey.
Live Oak County Auditor.
Live Oak County Auditor. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Is Judge Huff going to be able to attend, do you think? Or
I'm not sure. I haven't spoken to him today.
Okay, no worries. We can go ahead and get started. If y'all don't mind, I'll go ahead and call this meeting of the 156th District Legal Oversight Board to order. Today's date is February 5th, 2021. The time is 10:37 a.m. We're holding this meeting via Zoom. It's being published live on YouTube as we speak. And so now that the meeting's in order, we'll move on to agenda item number 2. Welcome our guests. We have Ms. Walters this morning and Mr. Doggett, who I think at the October 1, 2019 timeframe was still firmly a part of this trawler region and has since moved on. So Mr. Doggett, thank you for being able to attend this morning as well. There's not an agenda item on this, so I'm going to move agenda item number 7 next. So we're going to put agenda item 7 before agenda item number 3. Agenda item number 7 is new and old business. Mr. Colfax is joining us as well. Good morning, Mr. Colfax. How are you, sir? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, I'm a bit late. I'm fine.
Thank you for being here this morning, sir. We were just getting started, and we do have a quorum with respect to I've moved agenda item number 7 above agenda item number 3, and the purpose of that is that I'm a new appointee as county judge here from February or January 20th of last year of 2020. In that time, I don't believe a meeting of the Oversight Board was convened. I do know that on October 1, 2019, a new contract was entered into between TRLA and B County and its partner counties. And so I'm presuming that the last meeting was sometime around the October 2019 timeframe. Since then, Stephanie Moreno's has resigned. I don't know, based on the documents that we could find, and the meeting minutes are from 2016, the latest meeting minutes I could find. Was Stephanie the chair of this board the last time y'all met? She was?
I believe so, yes.
We need to, we can take it up under new business unless anybody has an objection. We need to get a new chair appointed, and we also need a vice chair if we don't have a vice chair. Under the terms of our procedural guidelines. Oh, good. Here we got another. This must be Judge Teal or Judge Huff. Those are the 2 board positions, officer positions on the board. Good morning, Judge. You just joined us?
I just joined us, yes. Good morning.
Morning, Judge Huff. This is This is Trace. Can you see? Are you calling in? Or are you?
No, I'm on my laptop, but my signal is not really good.
Okay.
So, but I can hear y'all and see everybody.
Okay, great. I was just discussing, I've moved agenda item number 7 up to after number 2 for the purpose of, we don't, and you may recall too, Stephanie, I believe was the chair of this committee prior to her resignation. And I don't know if we had a vice chair. Does anybody know who the vice chair was?
I think it was Judge Huff.
I think it was me.
Excellent. Judge Huff, at this point in time, you're the vice chair. We don't have a chair, so I think I need to turn the meeting over to you. I'm so sorry.
Okay, I do not have the agenda in front of me. I'm not in my office.
Yes, sir.
Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone. I think it's there. But yes, I'll see if I can get this done.
And I didn't know while you're doing that, Judge Huff, I did, and it's a very, very basic agenda. I didn't know if y'all felt comfortable with under the agenda item number 7, new and old business as new business, if y'all feel comfortable appointing a new chair and vice chair, and then proceeding on with the rest of the meeting.
Any comment on that? I do. I mean, I feel comfortable in doing that. I know that things have changed in a number of areas, but I think that could be new business.
As well, Trace, I think that'll be fine. Proceed.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Yes.
Yeah, I have no objection to taking that up as a new business item.
All right, Judge.
Let me see if I can find the agenda. I'm sorry. Hang on. Who is not present, and maybe they are, and I'm just not seeing them, is Judge Teal.
Judge Teal hasn't got on yet. Judge, I probably ought to check my email because he did respond and to the Zoom invite.
Okay.
You know what? I'll have Candy give him a call real quick. Excuse me, while you're looking for the agenda.
Just while I reviewed it, I just don't have it with me.
Judge, I have pulled it up. I don't know if it would help if I emailed it to you or.
How about just sharing the screen? Just share your screen.
Yes.
Share my screen or email you the agenda.
Okay, just a second.
Oh, wait, no, that's screen sharing becomes a
Hey, Jim, I just took a picture of it and message it to you. So you should have it on your phone. I just took a picture of it and sent it to you, Jim.
Okay, and you sent it to, I got it. Yeah, thank you.
Technology, gotta love it, right? Almost love it.
Okay, Judge Teal hopefully will be joining us. But Trace, do you want to go ahead and begin this, or since I'm vice chair, you want me to just take number 7 and we'll go from there?
I think so, yes, sir. I think that would be, I don't think I have any standing to do anything more. Okay,
we'll just basically begin the meeting. Today is February 7th, 2021. The meeting started at 10:30 a.m. We're waiting on Judge Teal, who hopefully will join us. Our past chairman or president is no longer with us. So as vice chair, I'm going to move to agenda item 7, new and old business. There's the idea, which I agree with, that we need to appoint or elect a new chairman and a vice chair. Well, new chairman first. Is there any discussion, any motion on who that new chairman of this oversight board should be?
Well, if you were so graciously accept a nomination as chair of the board, I would certainly like to make a motion that you be appointed or elected, if we have a quorum, to elect you as the chair of the Oversight Board, if you so graciously accept.
I would agree to, yes. I think it's a good group. So we have a motion for the most inept person on the Zoom meeting today to become chair. Is there a motion for Jim Huff? Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
Yeah, I have to say that I consider you to be very apt.
Well, you know, I can't spell either one of those, but I do know what you mean.
All right, yeah, I object to inept. I think you are apt.
Thank you.
All right.
I think. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. As chair, let's continue with agenda item 7, new and old business. We need to now elect a vice chair. Is there a motion for that nomination?
I'll move to designate Judge Morrill as the vice chair.
Motion has been made for Judge Morrill to fill the position of vice chair. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And it has been seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations, Judge Morrill.
Thank you all, I think. This didn't go the way I'd expected it to, but that's okay.
Okay, so we've already launched into our meeting. Are there any guests? Do we have any guests present today?
We do.
Judge. We just before you got on, we have Minu Walters present with us. She is the new chief defender in the Atascosa County Regional Public Defenders for Trala. So she's sitting in sort of just to see how this goes, because I imagine there's going to be some similar structure in her service area.
Great, good deal. Well, welcome. Anyone else? Agenda item 3, virtual court processes with Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid, and then we'll look at the TRLA budget. Virtual court processes with TRLA.
Yeah, I had to ask Judge Huff, I had to ask to put that on the agenda. I think this is a significant change that's happened to all of us, I guess, in the last year, and kind of wanted to bring it before the board and kind of ask, how's it working for everyone? We are still kind of scrambling around to do things virtually. Abner and I had a conversation, Abner, about 3 weeks ago, I guess, and in Refugio County about setting up a process. We spent all of our CARES Act money putting in systems for cleaning and other mitigation actions, but we didn't really have any money left over to hiring labor to help us with being a court coordinator and help with all the different changes with the virtual process. So it's costing some money. And I think part of the conversation, Abner, you and I had was, is there money available to help these small rural counties with invoking this, the virtual Zoom process, as a result of the pandemic. And I guess as a result of the OCA actions and the Supreme Court actions. So I just kind of want to get have a discussion, just a brief discussion on how's it working for everyone? And, I guess what's the trial, I guess, we've had some use of Skype here. I think we're going to really try to Skype and Refugio with regard to our juvenile justice court system. That's worked out fairly well. And now it's, we're trying to get the county court and also the JP courts as well, all set up in the next week or so. So I just wanted to put that on the agenda to have a discussion. And I guess, I know that I did the Defense Commission and then Edwin's online and Abner's here. And I just wanted to, is there any help, I guess, as we move forward, and we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know how long this is going to last. We've had to buy a couple of computer systems to have a remote kind of a station for defendants that come to Refugio, but they're isolated from the court system, and if they don't have computers, we're gonna make those available. So we had to invest in that. I'm having to spend some money on a general fund to make this work. You know, and it's something we didn't budget for. And we've tried other avenues, but now I think we're thrown into where we have to edicted that we have to do a certain way of conduct court in a certain way, and we're just not prepared for it. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of leave that in and just kind of see what everyone's, as it's working for everyone, and am I missing out on some funding that I can get a hold of to help shore us up for a while? You know, kind of all of the above. So that's kind of the reason for the agenda item, Jim.
Sure. No, I think it makes sense. In fact, I echo your concerns, and I'm looking for answers as well. My take on it is, do we like it? No. We're going to be a crybaby about it? No. We just do it because everyone else in the state of Texas is having to go under something, labor under something similar. But yes, I would like to know if there's any assistance from anyone, TRLA included, because the equipment, I don't know that I have exactly what I need. I kind of think I do, but also the mechanics, and I know our courts are set up differently, but mine does not run smooth. It is pretty much I wouldn't say hit and miss, but everything takes a lot of effort to get accomplished. And maybe I just need to look at some other courts and see how they're doing it. But with Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid, any assistance, even if that's information?
Could we, Robert, could we offer some technical assistance from IT to help with the setup, or is that going to be a no-no in some way?
Well, I think, Abner, we've got our IT fellow. You know, we've got. I worked with Kimberly with OCA. We've got the Zoom. I think we're set up. We had a meeting yesterday, an organizational meeting to get set up. But you know, I've got approval from Commissioner's Court to hire a person, $33,000 a year plus benefits, to make all this work and coordinate all this activity with 5 courts, you know, 2 JPs, county court, juvenile court, I guess 4 courts. And so for a little small rural county, we don't have a lot of bodies laying around to pick this and throw it on somebody's plate. You know, I was talking to Kimberly Thibodeau at OCA, you know, I think David said, hey, Kimberly, you just pick this up. Well, you know, we've about picked up all we can pick up. But I agree with Jim. I don't want to be a whiner, but it's reality. So it's costing tax dollars to do this. And so Edwin, I guess if there's, you know, financial assistance while we do this, I'm not sure how long it's going to last, but I'm certainly open. You know, want to just bring that topic up and just tell you where we're at. But we're going to do it. I mean, we're going to get there, and we're going to tweak it, and as we go along and learn. And this whole process may stay with us for a long time. I'm not sure if there's a possibility that OCA might come back and say, well, you know, now we're going to go back to in-person proceedings, and we've invested all of this a body. I don't want to lay a person off because now we're going back to in-person proceedings. So I think it's going to be something we stay with for a while. I just like to get some input. And if y'all have a crystal ball and want to share your vision, I certainly would appreciate that.
Judge Blaski, I mean, I can only really kind of speak for our pot of money in the state, but unfortunately, like I think as you know, we're in a bit of in a kind of statutory box where we can only use our funds for indigent defense specific purposes. So a lot of I'm very sympathetic to the challenges you're talking about with the courts having to restructure their processes and having a lot more complex, docket management going on. I don't know in terms of assistance, grant assistance, or other kind of state assistance for courts to cope with this. I don't know. You've already been in touch with OCA, and I think they would have told you of anything through them, and I don't think there's much, unfortunately. So, in terms of what we might be able to do locally through our funding streams would be kind of in partnership with TRLA to the extent that there were some technology needs. And we did have some conversations with them early on about technology needs that were new as a result of the pandemic, and that were specific to kind of facilitating the defense side of things. But I know that that's, I think that's largely already in place, and the challenges you've highlighted are challenges that the courts have in managing their court processes, which is, kind of outside of our lane. So that's not a very satisfying answer given the kind of problems you're dealing with, but in terms of our funding, that's kind of where we are.
I just had
were
to ask Edwin. Thanks.
No, I know. I totally appreciate it. I wish I had a better answer.
If we've got, I think in most of these courts, we handle at least 80% of the docket. That'd be it. If we were to make a proposal really for the benefit of our clients, which I think this would be, knowing maybe a little more specifically, Judge Blaschke and Judge Huff, what would help you, something that we could fashion in the way of an ask for us to improve the quality of our service to our clients, and also be something that at the time that the peculiar needs of operating in the pandemic start to die down, would be equipment or something that continued to be useful to us. In other words, if it had only a temporary value to the county court, but would have a residual value to us, so we could get it back or we could continue to use it, something that would pass muster, Edwin, for TIDC, because it would be to improve the quality of indigent defense. It would tangentially provide some relief, coincidentally, for what the Judge Blaschke and Judge Huff are up against, because it is, the needs right now exceed what are going to be really necessary a year from now, or at least certainly we hope so. Some of it would be welcome in technology, but some of it is stuff that when things slow down, are just not going to be useful. But we can always use this.
I know that. I think there's the technology in some ways is the easy part, and the harder part, or the bigger challenges have to do with getting somebody to manage the processes. I think, like this staff person that Refugio is in need of to help make all this work. Yeah, but Abner, in terms of if there were there's laptop computers that would be placed in the jail to facilitate some aspect of the both the defense communicating with their clients, or people getting magistrated remotely, and then that same technology might be useful for a defendant or an inmate to make a court appearance if it were also used for that. Those are the kinds of things that I think we could probably find a way to help with. But in terms of the bigger challenges facing the management of the courts themselves, as opposed to the defense, it's staffing and stuff. That's harder. But I think we'd be happy to work with you if we can identify some of those types of needs.
Appreciate y'all's input very much. I just thought it was appropriate that the Oversight Board had just kind of a state preview, kind of what we're up against in small rural counties. So, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
And Judge Blaschke, I know you know this already, but the legislature has just convened and they're just starting to get rolling. So it's always a good idea to share with your folks in the ledge about these challenges. I'm sure you do.
I have. Right.
And I know it's often not.
Yeah, sometimes people in these positions, this kind of ripple effect, and it rolls downhill to the county, and then we got to scramble around and try to figure out how we're going to do it. But like Jim said, we're not going to whine. We're going to get after it. But we're trying to manage it such that it's we've managed tax dollars as well, and making sure we keep people safe during this pandemic. And we think we've been doing a pretty good job. So we'll get things and we'll tweak it. But I just wanted y'all's input to see and ask and see how's it working fine. And this is, maybe I picked up a nugget. I always look at meetings that are successful. There's always an aha moment in a meeting that's successful. And so that's what I was trying to figure out. Did I have an aha moment here today with this group that maybe I was missing. So I appreciate everybody's input. Thanks so much. Thanks.
Thank you, Judge.
At the risk of giving anybody a false hope that I'm about to drop a pearl of wisdom or a gem of knowledge that will be useful. I did want to, and I can use this as an opportunity to kind of segue into a topic of discussion that I'd like to have under this agenda item. We have, for the last 2 years, I think, B County's had a court coordinator, Mike Loya. If anybody in your office or in Refugio County would like any assistance or insight, or it just have any questions about how he's dealt with the COVID impact on court coordinating, setting dockets, not assigning cases, but setting cases on the docket, and noticing defendants and dealing with COVID resets and exposure complaints and just all of that. Please always feel free to reach out to Mike directly, and I'll let him know that that you or somebody from Refugio might be calling him.
It's a good tidbit, Judge. Thanks.
Yes, sir. We we canceled our first docket of 2021 was January 5th. We ended up canceling it because of just the complexity of trying to let 100 people know that we weren't going to do in person. We were only going to do it remotely. So since excluding that one cancellation, I've had, I believe, just 2 dockets. It could be 3. I don't know. They seem to come up pretty frequently. And one of the things that I've noticed is that the way that things were running in person in B County for misdemeanor docket is in the morning we have a morning docket and afternoon docket. The morning docket is mostly pre-trials and announcements, hearings, and if there's a trial or any other sort of special hearing, it normally is put in that 8:30 docket. At 1:30, we have what we term we have an arraignment docket, and we have something that we call a magistrate docket. The magistrate docket's not a docket, and they're cases that when somebody was magistrated out of jail, they get a court date, but there's no case filed frequently. So there's no standing, nothing really for me to do except to try to get good contact information for them and then let them go so that we'll have good contact information when a case is filed against them. Traditionally, the process of, in my experience, in person and remotely, is when we get to that arraignment docket, we have maybe 50 people, and they're set for arraignment. Their cases are anywhere from 2 months to 15 months old, and so those timeframes really get stretched out on some. They're not represented by counsel, and they haven't been interviewed by TRLA, and they haven't filed or filled out or been presented an affidavit of indigency to seek court-appointed counsel. And so now that we're in this entire Zoom environment, that afternoon arraignment docket really is, it's the first of a 2-part arraignment hearing, because everybody's remote. There's no room that everybody can go in and fill out an affidavit of indigency at that time. And really, TRLA doesn't even know who might want to speak to them. And so the way that we've been running it is, when we get to that arraignment docket, if somebody wants to sign up with TRLA, we let them sign up with TRLA, and we just sort of take it as best as we can, and I try to order them to do it that day, so that we don't have this situation where those cases just become orphans lost in space. But I'm thinking, and this was a question for TRLA, after reviewing the contract, the TRLA's obligation is to immediately interview anybody that's been accused of a felony, a Class A or a Class B misdemeanor, as soon as reasonably practical after they receive notice that that person has been so accused or arrested. And I'm not sure that is going on, because I know that our dockets are sent out to TRLA several weeks in advance. And when I ask defendants if on the arraignment docket, if they're interested in seeking court-appointed counsel, and they say yes, they haven't already spoken with TRLA. The first time that they're interacting with TRLA is that day. When it's in person, it's really not a big deal, right? Because TRLA can take them out to the hallway, they can go through the affidavit of indigency. I can actually sign it that same day on the bench, and their attorney can interview with them and oftentimes file a waiver of arraignment or enter a waiver of arraignment onto the record so that we can continue to move the case on. And now in a Zoom environment, we just can't do that. And I think, and I'd like to know, and I don't expect any sort of, I'd like to work with TRLA, because I really appreciate everything that you guys do. And I like the lawyers that work in front of me. But I think that we're missing an efficiency opportunity that, at least under my rudimentary reading of the contract, would be an obligation that TRLA intends to undertake. And maybe just because of convenience of pre-COVID operations, it just wasn't necessary. But now in COVID, we need to find a way, at least from B County's standpoint, to not unnecessarily delay what is already a relatively cumbersome and long process when it comes to misdemeanor cases being cleared in this county.
Judge, may I, and I apologize again that I committed to a meeting in Atascosa about a week ago, but I would like, y'all continue with the discussion. If it would be of any value to you, I would love to speak with you about it, or this issue. It's an important one. It's one that has, it not just pertains just to this county, but to a number of counties. I'm really trying to beg off with a little bit of dignity, because if I'd have known, this is something I'd like to spend some time talking with you about.
Absolutely. I can touch base with you, Mr. Burnett, after this meeting. We can schedule a time. That I just want good solutions. So yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I will, as soon as I get cleared to take, I'll contact, is it Candy, and set up a meeting? All right. All right. I apologize for needing to leave, but appreciate, hopefully you will allow me to do so without, I'm doing the, I don't know the way to do this, but I've got to go, and I will check back with you.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate that, Mr. Burnett.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you all. And I wish that I could stay.
Thank you, Evan.
Yeah, Abner. Thank you, Judge Morrill. In fact, I would like to know the outcome of that meeting, see what we can work out or how we can do a better job, because I see the same thing in Live Oak, and there's got to be a better way to do it. And part of that's probably going back and reviewing how we're doing it. I just know mine does not work very well. Any other comment under agenda item 3, virtual court process with Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid?
Just a quick thing, judges. Would it be useful, Judge Huff and Judge Morrill, Judge Blaschke as well? It sounds like this is something that would probably affect the process in your court, especially at intake. Would it just be useful for Abner and myself to spend some time outside of this meeting going through exactly where we can change, or just going through the process step by step and seeing where we can fix any inefficiency or see if we can find some simple solutions?
Absolutely. I think it's a great idea.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, I think we need to. Anything else on court process?
Just real briefly, Judge, this is Trace again. I was curious, I would be curious to know, Judge Flanagan in the district courts, if y'all have experienced this issue, or if I know the nature of y'all's cases are so different than ours. I didn't know if that's anything that y'all are struggling with. You're on mute.
Judge, you're on mute.
I'm still muted. Yeah, it is quite a bit different because everybody that is in district court is required to have an attorney. And so we expect that everyone that is in jail is going to be at least screened by TRLA staff, almost exclusively. Well, it's usually not an attorney. From time to time, we do have some issues that we hear of or it comes across our radar screen that somebody's been in jail for a period of time and may file their own writ, file their own communication to the court saying, look, I've been in here for, X number of days. I haven't seen an attorney. I want to get a court-appointed lawyer. And so that had not been a problem. It may be an issue that's dealing with COVID and getting access to the jails, getting access to the individuals that are in custody. But they've not been a great number. They've not been a real concern. And again, frankly, we don't hear about things that have not proceeded as we expect until way late. And so there may be issues, until it actually comes to our court, which is weeks and months, most cases. And so maybe there are issues that have been resolved before we see anything about that. Maybe there's not been any issues, but it's been fairly isolated. Those circumstances where we've not had somebody screened, we've not had somebody at least visit with an investigator or somebody from the public defender's office to find out if they're eligible for services and if there's a conflict, those kinds of things. So it's not having the immediate contact court with those defendants. Maybe some of the reason that that we've not experienced those kinds of disconnects or those kinds of issues. But again, the isolated ones that we've seen were in circumstances where it we understand, we don't like it when there's a delay in getting somebody evaluated, and somebody talking to a legal representative of some sort. I think that the concern that we've got primarily now is that some of those folks do have mental or emotional issues that may not come onto somebody's radar. The short period of time that they visit with the magistrate, when they get magistrated, it may not become apparent to them. And frankly, we don't have, we've got Red that does a good job, but I don't think he screens everybody. And we still have issues of folks that it's sometime later that they either come onto our radar through communication with jail staff, or it comes to light through the public defender's office that this person's got a mental health issue or needs to be more stringently evaluated by MHMR or some other appropriate agency. So again, we've not experienced a great disconnect or a great deal of problem that's been reported to us regarding seeing somebody from the legal aid office. But it may be something that the mental health issue, which is, I think, a big deal for everybody across the state, is something to perhaps have a bit more attention paid to.
Okay. Any other comment? Anything else? Thank you, Judge Flanagan.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Judge Flanagan. And I just wrote a note down on it would be interesting. And I think we probably do need to discuss more the interaction of mental health and our local county mental health agencies and TRLA and the jail. And just and the court system with respect to the challenges of addressing not only the frequent flyers, but the individuals who may come before a court who do have mental issues that maybe haven't been addressed before. Because I know I've seen I know Joe is very familiar here in B County with trying to navigate those issues and try to find a solution for somebody within a framework that just isn't conducive for mental health rehabilitation. So those are really good point. Thank you.
And on that note, too, judges, Judge Blaschke, Abner, and myself, at your request, really, right before COVID, as I recall, we were starting to really try and tackle that issue in Refugio County. And the magistration that comes through actually is a result of those meetings, and the notes about specific mental health concerns on behalf of people who hit the Refugio County Jail. I mean, that happens quite diligently. So I do think, Judge Morrill, that if we tack on an extra part of that conversation, talking about how we as an office go through and try and address the very sizable mental health issue within the B County Jail and other jails, what our process is, and where we could also benefit from maybe even working with the magistrates as well in B County. I mean, there's a number of things that I think we could do. But yeah, it's a concern that comes up at every one of our staff meetings. And I also know that a lot of the time we're looking at out of county service options now. There was just one this week where I know in B County, the prosecutor, Ariel, was able to sort of spend time with one of the assistant county attorney and work on a specific resolution to a case that involved an out of county placement in a rehabilitation center at no cost to anyone except Red's time and transportation. So there are creative solutions. And I think we're in a spot in these counties where we have to be creative about going about finding them. So I'll make sure that we add that to the list of conversation pieces as well, Judge.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Joe. Okay, let's move on to agenda item 4, review of Texas Rio Grande legal aid budget. Are we prepared to do that? Is that an Abner thing?
That
Let's
was
say, I think Abner had to try to attend the other meeting with the Atascosa judges momentarily, but I've spoken to him, and obviously he doesn't have the access to those materials. Specifically, we have are able to produce various documents and expenditures, et cetera, but that's going to take a little time. I think we got notice of this meeting a couple of days ago, and I think trying to figure out specifically what y'all are looking for might be helpful, combined with what our caseloads look like. For example, I think it would be helpful to see what happened in 2020, for example, because obviously caseloads start to impact, of course, the personnel that we need to handle them, et cetera. So given a little bit more time, I think we can produce some materials that will be more helpful rather than just throwing so much of numbers on the screen.
Judge, this is Trace Morrill. I just will jump in, and Mr. Doggett is correct. And under our rules, I set the meeting just because really for the virtual court component, and we left these agenda items on. But what I would suggest, Judge Huff, that we consider is setting another meeting maybe in April or May, and in providing TRLA with an adequate amount of time to prepare exactly what Mr. Doggett just said. I mean, that would be excellent information. I don't even need to try to recreate what you said. I would like that exactly in that same way. Caseload. I think it would also be really interesting on that topic, and with finances too under this agenda item. I think it'd be really interesting to see, from 2019 to 2020 to year to date, 2020, 2021, how it's how COVID has impacted that, and maybe it might reveal hidden costs, expenses, and issues that that Trala is struggling with, because COVID is certainly impacting how y'all are able to and willing to provide services, and what pivots and changes you guys have to make. So I think that would be really illustrative for the board.
And
Well-
Judge Morrill, just if I could just chime in, I think this happened probably shortly before you became county judge. I could be wrong about the timing, but TIDC did work with Trala and the counties to do a sort of big picture budget review of the program and the grant funding. And we increased the grant funding last, I believe, starting in 2019. Does that sound right, Doggett? And basically, the existing grant had been in place for a number of years, that particularly for the original 3 counties, Bee, Live Oak, and McMullen. And so we went back and looked at the average caseloads and how those had grown a little bit, and tried to make our grant and the overall budget line up with the current caseload. So we did that review, but I think that should be, and I think we agreed with Trala and Judge Moreno that should be every couple of years that we do a deep dive review of how the caseload and the costs are aligned, because we want to make sure that nothing stays static in this business, and it's good to reassess. The other thing I wanted to just mention quickly is that April in the auditor's office every quarter provides our office with Trala's case reports, and I'm not sure if that data also cycles through your office, Judge Morrill, or any of the other county judges that might be interested. But there is a kind of regular sharing of stats on a quarterly basis. And I'm not saying that would take the place of the sort of review that you were mentioning a minute ago, but it is something that, if it's not currently also shared with you as it's reported to us, it could easily be shared with you, so that you could have a sense of how many cases are getting disposed, how many new appointments are coming in, and kind of monitor that. At least take a quick look at it every quarter.
Thank you.
Noted. Sounds good.
April, regarding that, have you had any issues with the reporting from TRLA?
No, sir. We had some timing issues prior, but Grace hasn't informed me of any of those. She's been getting her reports in. We hadn't really had to get with Edwin on any type of extensions recently. But yes, no, I'm more than willing to forward those quarterly reports over to the judges, whatever y'all want.
Well, that's the reason I bring it up, because I know in the past we've had some fairly significant issues about getting timely reporting and having to get extensions to close out the grant and reconcile, and didn't get really the kind of response that we were looking for, but that has been remedied.
We've been
Yes.
getting the reports very timely through April, and Grace's filings have been. I think we've been over that hump for some time now. Yes, Judge.
Okay.
Flanagan.
All right. Well, we haven't had a meeting for a while, and so I'm
Yeah. No,
that's why
I'm
bringing
glad.
that up.
I'm glad you're checking in on it, but things have been moving smoothly in that regard.
Good to know. Good to hear. Thank you.
Thank you, Edwin.
Anything else about agenda item 4? And what I take from this agenda item is that at an upcoming meeting, and we definitely will give URLA the time to prepare, but at a upcoming meeting, we'll address this. And I'm sure that it's probably general practice that when you have the numbers, when you have the information you're going to present, if you have that a week or 10 days before our meeting, yes, if we could review it so that I know maybe I could ask an intelligent question rather than review it for the first time at the meeting. But anyway, any other comments, anything dealing with the TRLA budget? Hearing none, we'll move to report from Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid, agenda item 5.
I'm happy to take this in any direction that y'all might like. I mean, I think that the general tenor of our operation as of March 17th last year has been pretty much limited to dealing with every single contingency relating to COVID. Prior to that, we had a couple of significant staff departures, attorneys, and then we went into COVID. And obviously we were grappling with our side of how to tackle exactly what this meant for us and our clients. And more than that, how it was that we would do what Judge Flanagan was talking about and sort of monitor the jails effectively and safely. We've had organization-wide meetings led by Robert Doggett on this matter too, where we've tried to carve out a specific approach that makes sense for public defenders, not just the civil side. And I think that there's been some real successes in that area. Every single one of our jails, we have 4 jails over 5 counties. And specific to this service area, both jails have technology inside the jails for us to have actually more immediate and greater access to the jail population. That has been something that I hope is an incredible effect that will linger well past COVID. That's been very useful. I think that we've had hiccups in just taking what is designed to be an in-person procedure and make it as virtual as possible. That has been, at least in the counties that I operate in, that's been, all the way through jury trial. But as you judges, especially the county judges, have highlighted, we've really been wrestling with, and quite frankly, right before this meeting, I was having another meeting with my office, how it is that we, at initial intake, how that process works from affidavit through intake. That is something that was just so easily greased by being in person. And because we can't really do that right now, we're trying to figure out the right way to go about, making that happen. So there have been, I think the last year, and this is my first oversight meeting, so I don't really know exactly what information has been provided in the past and what you're looking for. But really the general focus of what has been happening within TRLA's offices has been everything to do with COVID and the response to COVID and how to make sure that we can try and do the best that we can to get our clients in front of the courts and get their cases moved in a way that is also obviously in accordance with the rights that they're afforded. I will say Judge Flanagan's court, the Judge Bauer's court, Judge Watley's court, they were such quick adopters of moving virtual. And it still certainly has its technological hiccups, but it seems almost second nature right now. I mean, I get an invitation from Judge Flanagan a week before every single one of his settings, and we know the drill with our clients and the expectations of the court and how that paperwork is supposed to flow. So we've been able to make some great strides there, and I do know that would be excellent if we could trickle some of that process down efficiently to the county court level as well, and the different considerations that are being faced there. Other than that, I will say that going back to the staffing, this is, we do have Red from a mental health perspective, but as Red is stretched thin, and we try and deploy him as best as we can. And we've seen some really good results even during COVID with finding some placements, most of which are out of county. Anytime there is any sort of flagged mental health issue in any of our jails, Red is brought in to do some sort of assessment and some report back. And then we make decisions based on those calculations, but he's just one body in that office. We now have 5 attorneys. We did have 7, as I said, we lost a couple. One became a prosecutor and one is now, well, I guess the other became a prosecutor as well. So we have had that turnover. We haven't been able to replace those more senior felony qualified attorneys. That felony caseload is handled exclusively by Michelle in Ochoa and B in Live Oak, and Jeremy Habash is taking more and more felony cases. I'm handling the entire felony caseload in Refugio and Goliad, which is also, and a county court out in Goliad as well. So we are stretched. I think that's probably a common public defender trope. I do have our active caseload numbers if those are of interest to you right now. Abner Burnett has had to be pulled in to take some cases. I think the last thing I will say on this is that there has been also a coordinated structural reassessment of how Trala is recruiting to rural counties. And That has been ongoing. That's been an all hands on deck thing. I mean, Robert has been in on meetings where we've really gone candidate by candidate through, who we can hire and what that looks like and how we can better coordinate the recruitment. And that has been a structural change that obviously hasn't borne fruit just yet, but we do have another young attorney starting. She is virtual whenever she can relocate to Beeville safely. And we do have another one starting in August. So we have some fresh bodies coming in, but the big bullseye is still on securing some sort of felony qualified, capable talent to handle some of the cases that in the district courts. That's where I'll leave it right now. I don't know if there's any specific questions that triggers, but.
Any questions?
If you have those case numbers, that would be interesting. If you have them handy and you can share them.
Yeah. Do you want me to just tell you? I have them written down, or I can email them to the group. Right now, I have 115 active cases. All of those, I would say 98% of those are felony cases. Michelle has 84, and those are all felony cases as well. Jeremy Habash has 60 cases right now. He is kind of going through a spot of transition as he closes cases in county court and is starting to take on more cases at the felony level. Abner Burnett has north of 100 cases. It's mixed, though, across felonies, misdemeanors, and across counties. He has sort of been a stopgap. That's not a permanent solution to the short staffing that we have here. So there's going to be some sort of shuffle from his caseload onto Jeremy's caseload, especially as we start getting more and more cases in B District Court. Rebecca Young has 204 open cases. Her caseload is almost exclusively misdemeanor at the misdemeanor level in Live Oak County and mostly in Refugio, but some cases in Live Oak County as well. And Ariel Yoon, who is our newest attorney, licensed, I think she's been licensed now for 4 months. She is in B County Court. Judge Moore, I know you see her. She's also in McMullen County Court, but her predominant caseload is handling the B County Court, and she's got 92 open cases as we speak. That runs the gamut. I mean, that could mean that she was just assigned those cases yesterday. That could mean that she's reached a resolution and is waiting for the next court date for it to actually be signed by a judge. But that's where things stand right now.
Good information.
Yeah, with respect to B County, I do want to spend a moment for your edification, Joe, and for Mr. Colfax and Mr. Doggett as well. Mr. Habash has done a great job in my court. He continues to do a good job. I enjoy his presence and I enjoy his commitment. Miss Yoon as well. She slid right in. She fits in. She's doing great, and she's practicing well past her actual experience level. And we enjoyed Claire Profile and Emily before her. So I like the quality of attorney that TRLA brings to B County. Before I was a judge, I've known most of the TRLA attorneys for the last decade, and they really add value not only in the courtroom but also in our community. So I would be remiss if I didn't give the two that are practicing routinely in B County a big thumbs up.
Good.
Judge, that's good to hear. I appreciate that. And all the judges that are present here too, I will say that I know that all of your offices are so easy to work with and responsive too. And I would hope that if there are moments as well where there are things that need to be tweaked, like some of the issues that you raised, Judge, and I know that we've had discussions in the past that you know that it's obviously very much an open door, and we are all about looking for solutions to those problems as well, because more than likely they're affecting us and our clients too. So it goes both ways, and your office has always been a tremendous group of people to work with as well.
Thank you.
Good comments. Anything else of TRLA is in reporting?
Nothing more from me, Judge Huff.
Thank you, Joe. Move to agenda item 6, meeting dates, times, and locations. Just kind of throw something out there. Personal opinion, I think that since we are trying to figure things out and fly by the seat of our pants, that we probably should meet again soon. And in order to give Texas Rio Grande legal aid to fulfill some of the requests of them, I don't know, let me throw it out there. This is February the 5th, first Friday. I looked at April. The first Friday in April happens to be, I think, Good Friday. So if everybody could check their calendars or give me input, what would the thoughts be on another meeting, April the 9th, second Friday in April at 10:30 a.m.?
Good for me, Judge Huff.
Flanagan?
Works.
Good for Judge Morrill.
Judge Huff, I would ask that it be an afternoon meeting. I know
Okay.
Friday afternoon is kind of dodgy. But that April 9th date is an administrative day for the district judges. We're not having administrative meetings today. I'm not sure that we'll have a lot. But if we have the district judges tied up, I'll need to be there. And it's possible that we may have need of a juvenile meeting, which would be late in the morning.
Okay. Judge, what time on that April the 9th afternoon would work? And then we'll see if it works for everybody else.
Anytime in the afternoon would be fine for me.
Judge, from Trala's perspective, that Friday afternoon is definitely best for our office. So anytime in the afternoon would be great.
Okay.
Is 1:30 too early for everybody?
Good for me. It's good. It's good.
It's good. Okay, so let's set our next meeting for Friday, April the 9th at 1:30. And let me just get a motion in a second. Is there a motion in a second to set that date?
I'll move for that.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. New and old business. I think we've already taken advantage of that to some extent. Is there any new or old business that is still on the table?
Well, we do have our Live Oak County auditor with us as well. Ms. Cooper, scrolling back to reporting issues. Have you got any reporting issues? I know that you have data and reports that you need to submit to April, who's the, I guess, the financial officer for the grant. Have you encountered any kind of issues yourself?
I'm not aware of any. If April is aware of any issues of my office reporting to her, then I guess I need to know.
No, April's fairly shy and she won't say anything to anybody. No.
No, we're good. We're good. I do want to know if the judges do want, the quarterly report to be forwarded to y'all. Would that be beneficial or no?
Yeah, I think I already get it, don't I?
Yes.
Would be good, April, for Refurio. That would be good.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you go ahead and send that out separately, April, I know that we get, the district judges, we get periodic updates from you. I think it's monthly. It may not be quarterly, regarding our B County accounts and update to, how much we've sent, how much we've got left, if there are any issues like, we're over budget or looking to be over budget, those kinds of things. Yeah, I guess the most recent quarterly, don't develop something, up to the minute or for our next meeting, but if you send us the most recent quarterly report, just so we can get a picture of the finances.
Of course. Yes, sir. Not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you. And Natalie, thank you. I don't know how many people know Natalie Cooper does an excellent job. She's one Beeville County Auditor. When she took the spot, she hit the ground running and is one of the best I've ever seen. So Natalie, thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much. Any other new or old business? Topics for our next agenda for the Friday, April the 9th at 1:30.
It
Any
sounds,
topics? I'm
Judge,
sorry.
just to be clear, judges, and maybe I'm beating a dead horse here, but I know it's obviously sounds like a budget focused meeting. Is there I just want to make sure that we're as prepared as we can be for that meeting. So maybe in advance of that, if there's anything specific or as specific as you'd like us to get with the information that you'd like us to provide, that would be fantastic.
Okay.
I guess one thing that I would be interested in seeing, I do appreciate and am impressed with the number of cases that you guys have currently assigned to each one of your lawyers, but I guess if we could also get the disposition information. I would suspect that that's part of your reporting requirements, that periodically you've got to summarize the dispositions and you know how they're disposed of, whether it's by way of a plea or bench trial, jury trial, motions to revoke, all those kinds of things. However it's broken down. Again, don't develop some special matrix that's going to leave me with my eyes crossed trying to figure out what it all is. But just supplying us with something that you regularly, routinely have to forward regarding dispositions of your cases over the whatever time frame.
Makes sense. We get that data already, so we can get it to you in a way that's in English.
Okay. Bueno. I'm sorry. No, yeah, English would be good.
So maybe some more detail on our next agenda, but if I look at 1 through 8, that pretty much covers everything that we need. Is that correct? Everybody agree with that?
For right now, yes, sir.
I can't think of anything additional to put on an agenda.
Sounds good.
I would suggest just having an agenda item next time where you circle back to the questions that you're going to be discussing about the intake challenges and how that's being grappled, and make sure you close the loop on that. But it sounds like there's going to be an intermediate conversation before the next official board meeting. So maybe just a point to summarize and recap, whatever y'all came down with.
Yep. Anything else?
Oh, yeah, I guess one other thing might be if by that time we've got any information about targeted legislation, either for TIDC or TRLA specifically. I guess that might be a reasonable topic to have us included on.
Yes, definitely. I think that's a good idea. Any other discussion before we adjourn? Hearing none, is there a motion? Judge Morrill?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I said thank you.
Well, thank you for setting everything up. Is there a motion and a second to adjourn?
To move, Judge Huff, adjourn.
Thank you, Judge.
I'll second it, Judge.
And it has been seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Everybody, thank you for today. We'll continue to move forward. Have a safe weekend.
Every weekend, guys.
Take care.
Ladies, thank you.
Y'all take care. Thank you.
April, Natalie, thank you very much for being here.